Thingamajigs, An American Fairy Tale by A.S. Templeton. Fade in. Interior sitting room residence, San Francisco, day, 1902. The sitting room of an upper-middle-class residence on a shady lane in a better neighborhood. An armchair, a bookcase, a chandelier, a door open to an interior hallway. Summer afternoon sunshine streams in upon a bay window's alcove seat, where sits Jane Gladys Brown, female, 8, American, hair ribbons, serenely embroidering into a sofa pillow cover mounted in a handheld embroidery frame. Nora, female, late teens, Irish housemaid, enters, adjusting her outdoor attire.
The silver's all polished, Miss Gladys, and I'm off to Fisherman's Wharf. Sure you won't come along?
No, thank you, Nora. I need to finish this in time for Papa's birthday party tonight.
As you please, Miss Gladys. Your mam ought to be back from her shopping any time now. Will ye be all right, alone?
I can manage till then. Close the door, will you?
Nora exits, closing the door behind her. Jane Gladys peers slyly at the closed door. She attends to her embroidering as she softly sings the first verse of Sweet Annie Moore by John H. Flynn.
Annie Moore was the name of a sweet little miss who lived round the corner from me. Not a girl or a boy who did not enjoy sweet Annie Moore's society.
The sitting room door handle jiggles, then slowly turns as Jane Gladys focuses on her embroidery, singing.
Since she moved away, much lamenting they say, from the beaux that she had by the score. They don't miss Sister Fanny, but sigh for sweet Annie, but they'll never see. Did you forget something, Nora?
No response. Jane Gladys looks over to see, to her alarm, in the middle of the room, a book agent, male, American, middle-aged, short, fat, balding, and out of shape, bowler hat in hand, a large leather-bound book under his arm.
Don't be afraid, dear. I shan't hurt you.
Jane Gladys's alarm abates to leeriness as she looks the book agent up and down.
Who are you?
That would be telling. Are you Jane Gladys Brown?
Yes, sir.
Very good indeed. I've had quite a hunt to find you.
How did you get in?
That, too, is a secret.
What do you want?
Down to business. To begin with, your father has abused me in a most ungentlemanly manner.
Jane Gladys springs to her feet, embroidery in one hand, pointing angrily toward the door with her other hand.
Leave here immediately. My papa is the best man in the world. He would never abuse anybody.
Allow me to explain, please. Your father may be kind to you, for you are his little girl after all, but when he's downtown in his office, he's inclined to be rather severe, especially on book agents. I called on him the other day and asked him to buy the complete works of Peter Smith. What do you suppose he did?
Jane Gladys does her best to remain civil.
He ordered me from his office and had me put out of the building by the janitor. What do you think of such treatment as that from the best papa in the world, eh?
I think he was quite right.
Oh, you do? Well, I resolved to be revenged for the insult. So, as your father is big and strong and a dangerous man...
The book agent grins and chuckles unpleasantly.
What are you going to do?
The book agent pulls the book from under his arm.
Why, I'm going to present you with this book.
The book agent draws a fountain pen from his vest pocket.
How do you spell Jane Gladys?
Jane Gladys thinks it over. Putting on her best poker face, she casually turns the embroidery so that it faces away from the book agent. The book agent inscribes upon the book's frontispiece as Jane Gladys spells out 2 names.
Jayne Gladdis.
Thank you. Now this...
The book agent thrusts the book into Jane Gladys's hands, making her almost fumble the embroidery.
...is my revenge for your father's ill treatment of me.
The book agent bows himself out with a tip of his hat.
Goodbye, my dear.
The book agent quietly shuts the door behind him.
What a funny little man.
Jane Gladys sets the embroidery aside on the alcove seat and runs curious eyes and fingers over. Insert the book's front cover. The book's leather front cover embossed with the book characters and titles in red and yellow. Thingamajigs by Amy Farman Blunk. Illustrated by Waldo L. Selwyn.
And what a funny name for a book. Thingamajigs.
Jane Gladys leafs through the book until she encounters Insert the open book. A front-side illustration of a circus clown. Male, period, classic, huge clown ears. The book trembles in Jane Gladys's hand to a loud crackling and creaking. The clown, his unseen backside, a foot to crown, paper white, leaps up from the book and lands life-sized on the floor, facing Jane Gladys. The clown over the top stretches and yawns while Jane Gladys looks on, more offended than frightened.
Oh, this is better. You don't know how cramped one gets standing so long on a page of flat paper.
The clown gives Jane Gladys a clownish, not creepy, leer.
Well, you didn't expect anything of this sort, did you?
Can't say that I did. Then again, Papa always says I have a vivid imagination.
The clown turns and peers around at the room, revealing his paper-white backside, to Jane Gladys's amusement.
Hey now, nice and cozy. Very unlike the big top.
Jane Gladys stifles her giggles.
What amuses you?
The back of you is all white. You're only a clown in front of you.
What did you expect? The book's artist only made a front view of me. That side is against the page of the book.
But it makes you look so funny.
The clown grumpily seats himself in the armchair.
I'm not the only thingamajig in that book. Humph.
Jane Gladys leafs further through the book. Insert the open book. A front-side illustration of a monkey with ears as big as the clown's. The book trembles in Jane Gladys's hands to a loud paper crumpling. The monkey, its backside, paper white, springs up from the book, alights and rebounds off Jane Gladys's shoulder and lands life-sized on the alcove seat.
Ooh, ah! This is great fun! Now I can be a real monkey instead of a picture of one!
The monkey snatches up the embroidery and flings it high. Jane Gladys anxiously jumps high and catches the embroidery. She gives the monkey stink eye.
Real monkeys can't talk. How do you know? Have you ever seen one yourself?
The monkey and clown crack up. Jane Gladys rolls her eyes and turns the page to, insert the open book, a front-side illustration of a poorly drawn perspective view of a donkey. The book trembles in Jane Gladys's hands to page rustling. A donkey, oddly foreshortened body, mismatched limbs, paper-white backside, leaps out of the book and sprawls life-sized onto the floor. The monkey, startled, springs up to the chandelier. The donkey rises and spins unbalanced in place, exposing its white backside and knocking Jane Gladys down. Jane Gladys picks herself up, unhurt, but very amused.
Oh, you're clumsy enough, I'm sure.
Clumsy? And why not? If the fool of an artist had drawn you out of perspective, as he did me, I guess you'd be clumsy yourself.
Jane Gladys takes a closer look at the donkey.
Oh, I see. Sorry for laughing at you.
The monkey swings from the chandelier, wagging its ears.
Well, don't mind that. Look at my ears. They're as big as the clown's.
What about me? I haven't any back.
None of you have. There's a pity.
Jane Gladys turns a book page. Insert the open book. Several illustrations of a female leopard with its mouth closed. To paper rustling, the leopard springs out of the book and lands full-sized, her mouth closed until noted. The monkey topples in fright, and the clown dives from the armchair as the leopard leaps onto the armchair's back. The leopard crouches, lashing her tail and glaring fiercely at the others while the donkey struggles to right itself.
Which of us are you going to attack first?
I can't attack any of you.
The leopard sits up and opens her mouth. No teeth.
Why, the artist gave you no teeth.
Those are not all that he forgot.
The leopard ruefully exhibits her clawless forepaws.
No claws either.
But I'm a frightful-looking creature, ain't I?
Oh, yes. I suppose you're frightful enough.
The clown stage winks to the donkey and monkey.
On the outside.
The clown, donkey, and monkey all crack up. The leopard, abruptly furious, issues a horrendous snarl. Jane Gladys, hugely startled, fumbles and drops the book. The book hits the floor spine down, open to, insert the open book, a 2-page spread featuring several illustrations of a fierce male grizzly bear. Jane Gladys, alarmed, hastens forward to close the book. To paper ripping, the grizzly explodes up from the book and lands full-sized with a thud. The donkey topples in fright, and the leopard leaps atop the bookcase.
Laugh at me all you want, but this fellow has both claws and teeth.
Indeed I have, and I know how to use them, too. If you read in that book, you'll find I'm described as a horrible, cruel, remorseless grizzly whose only business in life is to eat up little girls, shoes, dresses, ribbons, and all.
The grizzly gently closes the book with a long foreclaw.
And then the book's author writes, I smack my lips and glory in my wickedness.
The donkey manages to right itself.
What awful writing! But what do you suppose possessed the author to make you so hungry for little girls?
Do you eat other animals as well?
The author does not mention my eating anything but little girls.
Very good. You may begin eating her as soon as you wish.
Jane Gladys flashes, incredulous.
Well, she laughed because I have no back.
And she laughed because my legs are out of perspective.
I apologized.
But you deserve to be eaten for poking fun at me because I have no teeth or claws.
Poking fun? I never did.
The grizzly rears up to full height, brandishing foreclaws and roaring hugely. The others flinch and duck in terror.
Enough chatter! This is the way I look in the book. Now watch me eat the little girl.
The monkey, leopard, donkey, and clown gather round and watch with evil delight as the grizzly advances on, Jane Gladys feistily standing her ground.
Can't you at least run around for a while, shrieking in abject terror?
That would make your ultimate demise much more satisfying.
Jane Gladys, undaunted and annoyed, stamps an angry foot.
Cease and desist.
The grizzly halts, looming over Jane Gladys.
Why? Do you wish to plead in vain for me to spare your humdrum life?
Jane Gladys, taken aback as humdrum pierces her soul.
Humdrum? But...
The grizzly chuckles unpleasantly. Jane Gladys regains most of her composure.
Well, never mind all that. Which little girl exactly are you meant to be eating?
Naturally, the little girl whose name is inscribed in the book.
Jane Gladys picks up the book and fetches the embroidery.
I'm not sorry to say, but you've got the wrong girl.
Jane Gladys presents the book opened to its frontispiece, the embroidery covering the book's facing page. The clown, monkey, donkey, leopard, and grizzly lean in to look in puzzlement at what is in Jane Gladys's hand. Insert the book and the embroidery. On the left, the embroidery's dedication in ornate cursive. For dearest Papa, with love, Jane Gladys. On the right, the frontispiece hand inscription. Property of Jane Gladys Brown.
I can't read.
Neither can I.
Don't look at me.
You read it, clown.
Oh, what a hopeless bunch of thingamajigs you are.
Jane Gladys points with her free hand between the book frontispiece and the embroidery.
See this first name? Jayne? Wrong. My first name is spelled Jane. And Gladdis? Nuh-uh. My middle name is spelled Gladdys. A mistake?
A technicality.
The grizzly rears up menacingly.
Prepare to be eaten.
Jane Gladys backs away, frightened, but thinking fast. The drooling grizzly closes in for the kill, the other book characters hemming Jane Gladys in, blocking her escape. The grizzly reaches for Jane Gladys with both forepaws, his slavering maw open wide to bite off her head. Jane Gladys thrusts a traffic cop hand up to the grizzly's drooly muzzle with,
Stop!
What is it now?
You mustn't eat me. It would be wrong.
Wrong? Wrong how?
Jane Gladys pulls a handkerchief from her pocket and daintily wipes the Grizzly drool from her hand.
Because I own you. You're my private property. In fact, all of you are.
I don't see how you can make that out.
Simple. The book was given to me. However one spells it, my name is on the front leaf. And you belong, by rights, in the book. So you mustn't dare to eat your owner.
A dodge.
A loophole.
Tense beat as the Grizzly thinks it over.
No, she's right. Of course I can't eat her.
The Grizzly huffs a grumpy sigh as he drops to all fours.
The author of that book is as disappointing as most authors are.
The donkey pointedly clumps around on its mismatched limbs.
The author's not half as bad as the artist.
They should both be prosecuted. Don't blame them. This fault lies with yourselves. Why didn't you stay in the book where you were put?
The book characters trade clueless glances.
Jane Gladys.
In the sitting room, Mama.
Jane Gladys holds the book open toward the book characters and gestures them a no-nonsense, in you go. The book's pages flutter as one after another, the grizzly, leopard, donkey, monkey, and clown leap back into the book. Jane Gladys, satisfied, claps the book shut. The door handle jiggles and turns. The door opens wide, admitting Mrs. Brown, female, 30, American, well-off, with gift parcels. She sets down her things and looks over fondly at Jane Gladys, embroidering as before, but thoughtful now.
Enjoying your afternoon, dear?
Yes, Mama.
Mrs. Brown steps up to Jane Gladys and watches her at work.
How is the sofa pillow cover coming along?
Almost finished, Mama.
Mrs. Brown tidies Jane Gladys's hair ribbons.
I'm sure your father will cherish it.
Mrs. Brown picks up the book and eyes it curiously.
What's this? Thingamajigs?
A funny little man dropped that off.
A door-to-door salesman?
Jane Gladys shrugs with, Mrs. Brown opens the book to its frontispiece.
But you've misspelt your name.
I might have misspelt it. Or not.
Whatever do you mean?
Mama, when I grow up, I should like to become a lawyer.
A lawyer? Like your Uncle Jocelyn?
From what Papa says, Uncle Jocelyn leads a life that is anything but humdrum.
Mrs. Brown closes and sets aside the book.
Humdrum. Really, Jane Gladys. In this year of our Lord 1902, a lady simply does not aspire to work in the world of men. You could be a teacher, perhaps, until you marry, then do good womanly works after your children are grown. Or even...
Mrs. Brown gazes wistfully at a bright future that might never happen.
become an author.
Mama?
Mrs. Brown comes to herself and forces a smile. She gathers up her shopping and bustles out the door with,
Become a lawyer. Ah, the very idea.
Jane Gladys eyes the open doorway for a long, wistful moment, then almost regretfully looks away. Jane Gladys finishes the embroidery, singing the chorus of Sweet Annie Moore.
Annie Moore, sweet Annie Moore, we will never see sweet Annie any more. She went away one summer's day.
Jane Gladys scissors the last embroidery thread.
And we'll never see sweet Annie any more.
Jane Gladys unframes the finished pillow cover and holds it up to regard it, very pleased. But then, the alluring wide world beyond the bay window irresistibly beckons to Jane Gladys. She sets aside the embroidery.
Become a lawyer?
A twinkle of inspired imagination in her far-seeing eyes. Jane Gladys Brown smashes the glass fourth wall.
It could happen.
Fade out. The end.